Like, if that was the guy.
Well, the Hurley thing was a little dicey. I would say they're waiting for the finals to end.
Okay, so why?
Well, because you want to be a good partner with the league and let the big broadcast in the finals end. You want to be a good partner.
Okay.
You don't want to stick it to the league and announce it an hour before. Yeah, I mean you're trying to be a good teammate.
You could have announced it before you got to the finals.
Here's my thing. If you're the fifth coach to hire a staff, and you're a rookie coach who's never coached, if I was going to hire JJ Redick, I'd have done it right out of the chute.
Yeah.
Because then I can build the best staff. We saw Joe Mazzulla last year without a good staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got worked.
It's a fair
Joe
point.
Mazzulla, they spent all off season getting him a staff. By the way, Steve Kerr knows this. Steve Kerr always had really strong staffs.
Yeah.
You can only do so much. You have to, and some stars have different coaches on staffs they connect with.
Yeah.
So if I would have hired JJ Redick, I'd have just said, hey, ESPN, we apologize to Mike Breen. We're hiring him.
Yeah.
I'd have gone right after him.
It just made me think of the fact that the Los Angeles Clippers just hired Jeff Van Gundy.
That's
good Tyronn Lue. That's a great hire. He can be for Ty what Tom Thibodeau was for Doc Rivers in Boston. But wouldn't Jeff Van Gundy look good next to JJ Redick?
Well, Jeff Van Gundy would have a strong opinion. I'm not sure the Lakers want that.
Yeah, well, you're right, which is part of look, there's the reality is there's no magic bullet in terms of hiring a coach that is going to transform this Lakers team.
Look how long it took Malone in Denver with Jokic, with Murray.
And this roster just isn't it is what it is.
Thank you.
It's
by the way, for the record, and I tell J-Mac this, champions create clarity. Austin Reeves is probably your second guy off the bench for Boston. He is, if LeBron or AD take the night off.
He's their third best. Yeah.
No, he's their second best player on any night that LeBron or AD take off. He's off the bench and maybe not the first guy off. If Porzingis is healthy and off the bench, Austin's the second guy off the bench for the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's the gap between the Celtics and the Lakers.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Am I wrong? Look at it. Am I wrong? If Porzingis is healthy, he's first off the bench. Austin Reeves is second.
Rick, how close is White and Austin Reeves? Be careful. Remember, White is on a loaded team, so he has less to do. If he's bumped up to be the 3 on the Lakers, what is he?
Defensively,
it's not close.
Night and day.
Not close.
And offensively, night and day.
And offensively, Austin, I think, is a little bit more of a playmaker.
Yes, he is.
And
Derek's a better shooter.
Yeah. But if you're asking me which guy I would take, I'm taking Derek White.
Yeah.
So you take Derek White behind AD and LeBron over Austin Reeves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had that at the point,
come on. Didn't
Austin Reeves had that rather than D'Lo or Austin? What's that?
And win? Didn't Austin Reeves lead them to a victory without LeBron in Boston this year?
During the regular season?
Yeah, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
During the regular season?
Yeah.
He celebrates regular season wins.
Here's the biggest issue with hiring JJ.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against him, but we already have a microscope on the Lakers.
Yeah, no
Everything that they do is scrutinized.
Right.
When you where'd you start your career?
Vegas.
Yeah. I started mine in San Diego.
Yeah.
When you're learning on the job, you don't want to do it on the biggest stage. And it doesn't matter what the roster is. Everything he does is going to be scrutinized. Everything that happens with LeBron or doesn't happen with LeBron is going to be scrutinized. And so that only adds pressure to the job in and of itself. And people have compared Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson went to a Golden State team that hadn't won anything in a decade.
That's right.
And won 23 games his first year. Okay?
Yeah.
And nobody cared.
Right.
Because there was no expectation. If the Lakers only win 23 games next year, all hell's going to break loose. And Steve Kerr, I'm sorry, but Steve Kerr played under Greg Popovich. He played under Phil Jackson.
Kerr is one of the most successful people in the league's history. He does everything well.
So
broadcast coach.
Comparing Steve Kerr did it and Mark Jackson did it.
Steve Kerr's different.
You can't compare the circumstances that they were under.
Yeah.
And Steve Kerr was handed a team that was just ready to jump out of the box and start contending for titles. I can't say that about these Los Angeles
I
Lakers.
wasn't on a stage when I started in Vegas, but I was near one, if you know what I mean. He got it. All right, sorry. Long story.
Wow.
Long story.
That's Cowherd being
I was
a little
single.
loose.
You know, things happen.
I like this Colin Cowherd.
On the edge.
Cowherd, he's on one today, folks. You mentioned facts over feelings. We should probably point out 2 other facts. Who led the Celtics in points, rebounds, and assists in the finals? Oh, it was Jason Tatum. Right. And in the entire postseason, who led the Celtics in points, rebounds, and assists?
Yeah,
that's right, Jason
He
Tatum.
is their most talented player.
Does everything.
Yeah, he is good in those blowouts.
And by the way, MVP voting, did you see it was like 7-4, the media, the ink-stained wretches voting? They hate, for some reason, they hate Tatum because he's came up empty in the finals, in the conference finals last year. They don't like him.
NBA media doesn't hate any player.
They do not. I'm telling you, they don't love Tatum.
It's the softest media of the sports medias.
I don't
Football
disagree with
media
that.
can be intense. Soccer media, tough. Baseball media, snarky. NBA media is... they like stories. They always lean to be nice to the young players, which is not a terrible habit, but nobody's anti-Tatum. Media now is so soft. You go back to the Dick Young New York Post days. Media was mean in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Like, the media now is young.
Well, a year ago, they tried to run off Missoula. There's headlines in the Boston Globe about Joe Missoula's got to go.
What are you talking about?
When they lose to the Heat.
Okay, and Brad Stevens had to empower the staff because he did get worked. This is Boston. The standard in Boston is you have the best coach and you win the game. It's not you get worked by Eric Spoelstra and lose to Bam Adebayo and Butler when you have a better roster. You're saying this is criticism, and I'm saying Missoula did deserve criticism. He got worked by Spoelstra, and that's okay. He was a young coach. But Brad Stevens won Executive of the Year. Brad, who coached this group, he coached this group, right? He knew the deficiencies. He knew the more Tatum dependent they were, he didn't have great trust in that. So he augmented this team with 2 more skilled offensive players. He made it less Tatum dependent, more collaborative, and it worked brilliantly. But Brad Stevens doesn't hate the Celtics.
No.
He recognized a weak coaching staff and a Tatum habit to step back, not lean into huge moments.
Well, remember, they also had Marcus Smart last year, who was like, hey, it's the fourth quarter. I need the ball. I need the rock, kind of like me in men's league games. Marcus Smart's jacking shots. It's like, dude, I know you're a leader.
Yeah.
We got to move on from you. And I think that was a big addition by subtraction. Remember, they moved on from Grant Williams, too. I think Grant Williams was there last night. Anyways, let's get to the stories. First up, Colin, Trevor Lawrence got his big contract on Friday, $55 million per year. Now we're waiting, and it sounds like Tua Tagovailoa is closing in on a deal. The latest report indicates he and the Dolphins are in the ballpark on a new contract. Could happen this week. One number being floated, Colin. You're not going to like it, but it's a 4-year deal, which would average him out at $49.6 million a year, right under that magic 50. More than Kyler Murray.
Shouldn't be paid more than Kyler, but whatever.
Please, give me a break. So there's a big gap. Kyler Murray signed his deal, I think, like 3 years ago, and at 46, and then Hurts is at 50. I can't mind.
I would much prefer he come around in the 43, 44 million.
That's not happening. That is not happening.
It's not, but I would say they kept him under 50, and I think that's reasonable. I think Tua should be in the 4s, not the 5s. And so that's fine. I don't have a problem with Trevor, Joe, Jared, Justin, Lamar. I think Jalen Hurts I'd be a little concerned about based on his decline post Shane Steichen. Most of these guys are paid. To me, obviously, Mahomes keeps reworking his deal. But I generally don't have a problem with any of these. I'm not a Deshaun Watson fan, so I don't need to regurgitate that. But I think if you can get Tua in the 40s, I'd rather go low to mid-40s, but it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Listen, Dolphins are going to need him to contend. I still don't understand why they didn't draft a quarterback high, but, I guess they got a game plan over there. Let's move on to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar, 2 MVP awards, 0 Super Bowl trips so far. Following last season's AFC title loss to the Chiefs, John Harbaugh and Lamar discussed expanding their audibles at the line of scrimmage, something QB's coach T. Martin broke down for the media.
You're not going to give a guy keys to the Ferrari, tell them to do 30, you know.